Alright guys, so we got to talk about a story that is going viral for what the mainstream liberal media is trying to make out to be an issue that's really not an issue because the school is private, okay? And we're talking about a private Christian school that has a policy that basically states that they're going to refer to all students by their biological gender, and they are not going to tolerate students who are found to be participating in a certain lifestyle, and they're going to ask those students to leave. Now, this policy was allegedly explained and given to parents before parents could actually sign their kids up to go to this school, and apparently, allegedly, they were made aware of this policy, right? Something they had to agree to before their students could enroll. So every parent should have been aware that this was the policy. However, you do have some parents out there that are complaining about this because they have students that do participate in these lifestyles, and they're saying that they feel like their students, their children, are not being welcomed at this Christian school because of this policy. So I want to talk about this because I think that this has been overblown for multiple reasons. But first, I want to go ahead and roll the news clip, the news coverage of this, so that you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on here. Take a look.
She was going to open her mouth and expose herself, right? But she's not scared anymore.
Tonight, a mother opens up about her decision to remove her lesbian daughter from a Christian school with a policy that gay students are not welcome. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Lee.
I'm Keith. Kate, thank you for joining us tonight. Grace Christian School in Valrico says it will only refer to students by their sex assigned at birth, and notified parents that gay and transgender students would be asked to leave the school immediately.
That prompted at least one parent to transfer her child to another school. Justin Schecker spoke with that mom tonight, and he joins us live in the Tampa News Center with more. Justin.
Keith and Jen, NBC News first obtained the email from June outlining the Grace Christian School's human sexuality policies. Now, it told the parents you have to agree with them before your student may start the new school year. The mother I spoke with says she had to make a change for her daughter's well-being.
From what I read, it's not a new policy, but that was the first time I was made aware of the policy in that email.
This Hillsborough County mother of a 16-year-old lesbian daughter asked to conceal her identity for fear of harassment.
I am accepting. I love my children. I don't care. But there's families that I know of that really have more than a hard time with their children being gay, and it's sad.
All of her children have attended the Grace Christian School in Valrico, but after reading Administrator Barry McKean's June 6th email, she says she couldn't send her youngest daughter back there for her junior year.
I actually respect their opinion, but my daughter's well-being, right, and mental health is more important.
According to the email obtained by NBC News, the school will only refer to students by their sex assigned at birth. It also states any form of homosexuality or transgender identity is, quote, sinful in the sight of God and the church. The email goes on to say, students who are found participating in these lifestyles will be asked to leave the school immediately.
I have to say about that school, there's some loving teachers at that school. There's teachers at that school that know a lot of these children are gay for sure, and they still love them.
This mom says her youngest daughter never faced discrimination at the Grace Christian School, but at times she felt left out. Before enrolling her at another private school, she asked the owner,
I just want to know if it's Christian-based, and he said, yes, it is. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you up front, my daughter is gay, and I don't know, would that be a problem? He said, no, God loves everybody.
And the mom told me her daughter is now thriving at her new school. I reached out to the Grace Christian School and Administrator Barry McKean directly for comment why he sent that email back in June, but tonight I have yet to hear back. Live in the Tampa News Center, I'm Justin Schecker, 8 on your side.
Yeah, so I want to say this first before I get into my opinion on this, okay? Because I think it goes without saying here that if this school was a public school, or if this school receives any type of public funding, obviously this is wrong, okay? Any school or institution that is publicly funded okay, should not be allowed to discriminate against students based off their gender or their sexuality, okay? I think that goes without saying, even though I don't think you should have to adhere to people's preferred pronouns. I don't agree with that. But I do think that, saying that, students can't be here if, they're LGBTQ or whatever, if you're publicly funded, okay, if your public school is not right, okay? I just want to be clear about that from the get-go. However, it doesn't seem like this is the case for this school, as this is a private school, right? And because this is a private school, what can you say, right? This is a Christian school. And they're saying, look, if students are participating in this certain type of lifestyle that goes against what we beliefs that we base off our book, hey, we can't allow that. We can't allow that because we are a Christian school and we're trying to follow our religion, right? Now, here's the thing. Here's one of the reasons why I think this is being overblown, for a couple reasons. One, there's no reports of the school actually enforcing this policy, right? This parent even said in an interview multiple things that make me believe that, again, this is just something that the media is trying to blow out of proportion. It's being caught on to by the mainstream liberal media to try to probably smear this school as some type of school of bigotry. But she said, look, all these teachers, I never had any problems. My daughter has never faced discrimination for being lesbian at all. They love my daughter. I just feel uncomfortable with the policy. I don't like the policy. So therefore, I moved my kid out of the school. And my kid is now thriving at another school. Well, isn't that kind of the point, right? Isn't that the whole point of free market schooling, right? Where you can say, hey, look, I want to send my kid to a school that has values that I agree with. Isn't that the whole point, right? Just like at that new school that your child is at, guess what? If Christian parents don't feel comfortable sending their kids to that school because of the things that they allow at that school, which they're probably more tolerant of that type of lifestyle, obviously, then they can send them to a Christian school. That's how the free market is supposed to work, right? But again, pay attention to what the parents said. This school, even though they have this policy, there have been no reports of the school actually enforcing this policy against kids, right, in regards to kicking them out. And that mother said that her child, never faced any type of discrimination. So what's the problem here? Outside of the fact that the policy is on the books. A policy that, whether you agree with it or not, they're a Christian school and they should better have whatever policies they want. Because, again, this wouldn't be a story if this was an Islamic school and they had that policy that, hey, we're not going to tolerate this type of lifestyle here. Everybody would say, well, that's just what they do. That's just a part of their religion. You can't tell them how to practice their religion. That's what people will be saying. But because it's a Christian school, however, you're expected to tolerate something that, hey, look, to be quite honest, in the Bible, they just don't have a lot of tolerance for it. It is what it is. Again, if this was done in public school, this is wrong, right? If it's publicly funded or if it's a public school, it is wrong. You shouldn't discriminate based off that stuff. But they're a private school. And then here's another thing I want to mention that I think that people are going to overlook. Well, how is it that the school would know that a kid has a certain sexuality or was participating in a certain lifestyle unless they're openly doing it at the school? And what I mean by openly doing it, when it comes to, for example, sexuality, if a kid is openly kissing another kid of the same sex at the school openly in front of everybody, then yeah, they would know. But in school in general, right, whether you are straight or, gay or whatever, if you are openly participating in those type of activities, kissing other students, I feel like that's not allowed in general, right? I feel like teachers have something to say about that, whether it's heterosexual or not. At least when I was in school, that wasn't allowed, right? Students that wanted to kiss, they would go off in the corner somewhere, okay? They wouldn't do it openly. So the only way they would know is if the parents told them or if the student openly announced that this is my sexuality in school, which would be inappropriate, right? The only way that a school would know that a student is trans is if the student or the parent wanted to force the school to use the preferred pronouns of that student. That's the only way they would know. So basically, what it comes down to is this school is basically saying, in a nutshell, because we know they're not really enforcing it like that, they're saying, look, if your child participates in behavior that's openly, sexual in nature, that indicates that they may be a part of this lifestyle, yeah, that's gonna be a problem. But I'm pretty sure that would probably be a problem even if it was heterosexual as well. And they're also saying, well, we're not, you can't force us to use your preferred pronouns. That's what they're saying, right? And they're essentially saying, well, if these are things that you want your student to participate in school, and it's based off this lifestyle, look, we got to tell you, our book doesn't agree with that, right? Our religion doesn't agree with that. This is a religious school, so sorry, this might not be the best school for you. And because it's a free market, right, because you can go to another private school, obviously this parent can afford to send her kids to private school, you're more than welcome to, again, either go to public school or go to private school. It's really that simple. It's not like the school is asking students, are they LGBTQ, are they trans, and then deciding that, hey, we're going to kick you out because of that. That's not what they're doing. Basically, what the policy is actually really saying in regards to how they enforce it is that, well, if you want to openly participate in those lifestyles on campus, we're not going to allow that. That is what they're saying, right? Because, again, otherwise they wouldn't know unless the student openly participates in that lifestyle or the parent or student tells somebody at the school that they're participating in that lifestyle. Now, what reason would a parent or a student want to say that to a teacher or administrator at school? I don't know, right? But, again, that's the only way they would know. As far as I know, they're not going after LGBTQ students and trans students and saying you got to go, you got to leave. No, they're just saying you can't openly participate in that here. This parent found a free market solution to her problem. She says her kid is thriving. Her kid never faced discrimination at this school that she was at. But for whatever reason, she's going on the news and complaining about this and blowing this story up out of proportion. For whatever reason, we really don't know. Like, what point are you trying to prove here about this school? Oh, this school, tries to follow what's in their religious text. I mean, they are a religious school, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. It's just funny to me how, again, there's an expectation for people of certain religions to accept something that obviously, again, is not necessarily tolerated as much in their book, right? But again, there's other religions that are allowed to just get away with whatever type of discrimination they want and nobody says anything about it. Or you're some type of phobe. Again, why are certain religions expected to be more tolerant than other religions? Again, we're not talking about a public school here, which I stated multiple times in this video. It'd be wrong to discriminate against people, in the public space like that off of, sexuality or religion or gender or race or whatever. Obviously, that's wrong. But we're not talking about that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a religious school. So, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective.